Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2. Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Immense Networks Cloud IT Management, online at immense.net. That's immense.net. West Virginia on the board first. Mountaineers up 1-0 on Troy as they play in the top of the second inning. Loser goes home. Winner gets a date tomorrow with North Carolina. They'll have to beat the Tar Heels twice to advance to the championship series. Talk a little bit more College World Series later on in the hour. We're also going to do a little ESPN story on the NFL draft for next year, but in college football this year. Where does LSU have guys ranking the top 5 prospects at every single position? And also took a look at Clemson from that perspective as well. We'll take a look at that. We discussed Clemson yesterday in our 3-thing series that I'm doing over at LouisianaSports.net. We're going to go through LSU's entire football schedule and go through 3 things. Surface level, 30,000 feet, big picture stuff, not drilling down too deep on anything at this point. It is, of course, just the middle of June, so we're not trying to go crazy here, but we're going to go through the schedule, and that means we pull up into Louisiana Tech territory this year. And so I wanted to briefly go back to the Louisiana Tech game last year, because that is when you might have walked out of the stadium and gone, okay, wait a second, right? Because you could easily explain away LSU's poor offensive performance at Clemson. Okay? You've got a situation where you're on the road. You're playing a team that's got Parker and Woods up front. They're potential first-round picks. Avion Terrell out there. Woodaz is an all-SEC linebacker. Like, they've got real dudes on defense. You're on the road. You're breaking in a brand-new offensive line. Okay, you're leaning on your defense. You won the game. Nobody was throwing any panic buttons up about LSU's offense after they only scored 17 points at Clemson. Nobody, because you won the game. And so what's to be upset about? But then you go out against Louisiana Tech, and you have 365 yards of offense, and you only score 23 points, and Tech stonewalls you in the red zone a couple times. You're not running the ball great. All of a sudden, you can look at it and go, okay, maybe this offense isn't what we were looking for. And, I mean, that's certainly what I did. And this was before the famous interaction between Brian Kelly and Cauble. That was the Florida game where, you know, the offense wasn't great, but you got 5 interceptions and you had 1 return for a touchdown and you won the game. And all of a sudden, Cauble said, you know, your offense isn't great. What's the deal? And that's when Brian Kelly gave you, y'all are spoiled. We won the game, beat the Florida Gators, the whole thing. But the Tech game was the real genesis of this offense may have some issues. Well, that's not a Tech thing for next year, but it's just a spot where they are on the schedule, because you got Clemson to open the season, you got Tech again this year. Now, Sonny Cumbie last year was under real heat because Tech had been pretty damn good under Skip Holtz for their level of play, for Conference USA football. Skip Holtz took over a program that was bad, and he had success. He had won 9+ games in 4 of his first 7 seasons. In 4 of the last 6, they won 9+ games. They had a high watermark with a 10-win year in 2019. And then Holtz went 3-9 in 2021. They fired him. And Cumbie's first 3 years were 3-9, 3-9, 5-8. So he was on the line last year. And they had a decent season. They went 8-5. They won the Independence Bowl in Shreveport. That's some progress. But he is on the hot seat because at Tech, he's 19-31 overall and 13-19 in SEC play. He doesn't need to beat LSU on September the 12th, but they got to do something. And so that'll be a big year for Louisiana Tech. They're also moving conferences, if you weren't aware of this. They are moving into the Fun Belt. This is the second conference move they've made in 15 years. They were in the WAC when I was in elementary and middle school, transitioned to Conference USA, where they've spent 13 years from 2013 to 2015, Conference USA. Now They're joining ULL and ULM in the Sun Belt, and they're going to play the Cajuns and the Warhawks back-to-back weekends, October 10th and 17th. ULL will go up to Ruston and then tackle drive down I-20, 35 miles east to tangle with ULM. So it'll be a new year, new conference for ULM. And then you got the quarterback questions for Louisiana Tech. And it's interesting because one of their quarterbacks, the guy who threw a touchdown pass against LSU last year, is named Blake Baker. Blake Baker is one of their quarterbacks. He emerged as their starter. When Tech got to Baton Rouge last year, Trey Kukuk was their quarterback. And he ran a lot. He was from a tiny little school they found him at, and he came in, and he ran a lot, but they didn't score a lot, so they went to Blake Baker, and things got a little bit better. And then Blake Baker got hurt on November 8th, and Kukuk had to play the last part of the season. And he ran a lot. He ran for 100-plus yards in their last 3 games, including the bowl game. He set the Tech quarterback rushing record of 172 yards against Missouri State. But Tech's offense was terrible last year. They threw for 8 touchdowns total in 13 games. 8 touchdown passes. That was dead last in Conference USA, obviously. They were dead last in Conference USA in passing offense. And only Oklahoma State and Army threw fewer touchdown passes last year than Louisiana Tech. And Army threw 68 passes on the season. Sonny Cumbie used to throw that in a game at Texas Tech. And Army did it in a season. So they were among, if not the worst passing offense in the FBS last year. That's a team that LSU will see this year. Now keep in mind, Cumbie, as I mentioned, threw for 4,700 yards and 32 touchdowns in one season as a Mike Leach quarterback at Texas Tech. He's got a background in making some things work offensively through the air. They just didn't do it. This is not a team I expect to scare LSU in any way, shape, or form. I think LSU will be much better on offense this year, even in game 2. And I think LSU will run away from Louisiana Tech. This is not a game that I would pencil in as one that, you might want to look at this one. There are times where you've got a Memphis team that's spry. There are times that, Troy's been decent. They've certainly come to Baton Rouge and won. There have been some decent mid-major teams that have come into Baton Rouge. I don't think this Tech team looks like one based on what they did last year and what you'd imagine they'll be this year and what they've been under Sonny Cumbie. So it's a team that will present the ultimate sandwich spot for LSU, the ultimate sandwich spot. Think of where Louisiana Tech falls on the schedule. It's College game day, Lane Kiffin debut, Saturday night in Death Valley, prime time, LSU Clemson, week 1. That's as good as it gets in the nation. Week 3, Kiffin goes to Oxford. And Tech is the sandwich right in the middle of it. That's as good a spot as Tech can possibly hope for to get LSU. But still, when you're that bad on offense last year, you return the same 2 quarterbacks. It just doesn't stand to reason that Tech's going to pose much of a threat to LSU. It's a huge season for them in Ruston with a new conference and a coach on the hot seat and trying to beat ULL and beat ULM and establish yourselves as a rivalry in the Sun Belt. But for that game, week 2, I don't see an abundant storyline for LSU and Tech other than LSU's defensive coordinator and Tech's quarterback will share a name. That's about all I got for you on Tech. So that's 3 things for Louisiana Tech. Again, tomorrow it ramps back up with Ole Miss. Yesterday was great with Clemson. We certainly have Texas A&M coming up, and we'll have to get through McNeese. But a lot of good stuff, I think, coming. If you want to read about it, you can at louisianasports.net. They are playing on in Omaha. 2-0. West Virginia leads Troy. We'll keep you updated on that as we move forward. 5 best draft prospects at every position for college football in 2026. Where do LSU's guys fall? We'll talk about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. SwingEasyGCBR.com. SwingEasyGCBR.com. See, weeks like this are where it's really tough to be a golfer in Louisiana because you want to get out after work and hit some balls. You want to go play quick 9 holes after work because it's daylight for a long time. Or you want to get a tee time for the weekend. Well, we got flooding coming. I mean, I saw Steve Cavarata potentially 10 inches of rain. Doesn't matter at Swing Easy Golf Club. You want to go work on your game? You want to go play Shinnecock Hills where they're playing the U.S. Open? Swing Easy Golf Club is indoors. You work on that simulator. It's really a lot of fun, and it is a really advanced technology. It's accurate. I told y'all when I hit those 600 shots at Pebble Beach, When I was hitting a Pro V1, a ball that spins really well, I could hit it into the green and it would spin back. When I hit this scuffed up top flight, it would just hit like a stone and roll forward. You can see your metrics. You can see your shot trajectory. You can see your carry distance. You can see your swing speed. You can see where the club impacts the ball. It's a really cool place to go either work on your game or just have some fun, even if it's raining or 100 degrees. Swing Easy Golf Club right here in Baton Rouge. They're on Segan at Perkins. Online at swingeasygcbr.com. That's Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
First American Bank and Trust. First American Bank and Trust, FABT.com, FABT.com. Go by and see them. Cranked up in 1910. I don't really know what else was going on in 1910. I know the Cubs won the World Series in 1908 with Mordecai Three-Finger Brown on the mound. So it's been a minute since 1910. First American Bank and Trust hadn't stopped, though. 116 years they've been at it, grown to 25 locations throughout southeast Louisiana, so there's always one close to you. You want that community feel with your bank. You want to know that when a decision is being made on your commercial loan, when it's been made on your personal loan, it's being made by somebody who cares about the community, that's somebody that's in your community. Every decision is made locally. You call First American Bank and Trust. You talk to somebody in southeast Louisiana. There's no call center in Chicago that's flagging things down. Nope, all right here in southeast Louisiana. And when I say community bank, don't think, well, they can't help me. I've got a sizable business here. They got 25 locations. They can. They've got the assets necessary to help you. So go by and see them, whether you're in St. John's, Lafourche Parish, Terrebonne, maybe in Dutchtown or up I-12 in St. Tammany and Tangipahoa. There's a location near you. It's First American Bank and Trust. Check them out online at FABT.com. That's First American Bank and Trust. ESPN.com put together a list, the 2027 NFL Draft, ranking the top 5 prospects at every single position. And I went through and I was looking at the LSU additions, and it's exactly kind of what you would think. At tight end, they do have Trades Green listed. I thought he would be a consensus number 1 at tight end because I don't know all the tight ends in the country. He's not. He's actually second consensus. Jamari Johnson from Oregon, who I do remember now that I read that. He is the top of this list. Trades Green, though, right there at number 2. I expect this to be his final year in Baton Rouge, but he is going to be a real weapon for this Lane Kiffin offense, obviously. On the offensive side, one more for LSU. It is Jordan Seaton at tackle. He is ranked as the number 2 tackle by both of the writers here, Miller and Reed. Trevor Goodsby is the number 1 tackle by both. He is at Texas, but Jordan Seaton comes in at number 2. This is a big deal, obviously. You've got to have a guy to lock down that left tackle spot. I'm going to probably bring this up like 5 more times before we get to Labor Day weekend because it's burned into my brain just fiercely. I'm sitting in the press box. LSU is taking on Texas A&M. Cassius Howell is lined up on the edge. And LSU has got Carius Kern playing left tackle against the Aggies. And for whatever reason, because I never know exactly what I'm going to watch play to play from the press box. Most of the time, I'm watching the center of the ball and the quarterback. Sometimes my eyes wander. And in this instance, I was watching left tackle. It was a 3rd down play. And Nussmeier took the snap. And Cassius Howell came off the ball. And Carius Kern cold whiffed. And Howell just flattened Nussmeier. And that is burned into my brain. And it must have been burned into Garrett Nussmeier's brain and Joe Sloan's brain. How do you functionally design an offense without a competent left tackle? How do you feel comfortable making your drop when you can't trust the left tackle? That's not Carius Kern's fault. He's a true freshman being asked to play left tackle. But you can't. It changes the way you operate when you can trust the blind side of your quarterback to be taken care of. And Jordan Seaton profiles as that, and the ESPN guys have him as the 2nd best tackle in college football among the draftable players. Now, there is one more player on LSU's offense who is listed. He's actually listed as a player just outside the top 5. But I'll let you think about it. They've got wide receiver, they've got tight end, they've got running back, they've got tackle, they've got guard, they've got center, they've got quarterback. If you think about one other LSU player who ranks just outside the top 5 in the country as far as draftable players, my mind would probably go to wide receiver, but it's not. It's center. Braylon Moore is in a player outside the top 5 to watch. As they write, after he spent the first 3 seasons of his career at Virginia Tech, a strong argument can be made that Moore was LSU's most consistent blocker last season. You don't need to make an argument. It just is. And then with 36 career starts under his belt, Moore is an experienced and gritty center who has already received day 3 grades from NFL evaluators. That's probably fair. Like, Braylon Moore doesn't feel like a first-round pick. He's probably not a third-round pick. But he is a guy that you can trust in the middle of a college offensive line. He showed that even hurt last year. Remember, he got hurt twice. He got hurt twice last year. If he can stay healthy, that's a big piece to the middle of your offensive line. So offensively for LSU, it's Trey'Dez Green, Jordan Seaton, and Braylon Moore. There's only one on the defense. Edge rusher, nobody from LSU. Not Prince Ulumanmielen. Not Gabe Relaford. You don't have an edge rusher. Defensive tackle, no one from LSU. Don't have one. Linebacker, thinking Whit Weeks, who led the SEC in tackles 2 years ago. You're thinking Devon Keys, who was second last year. TJ Dottery, who was first last year in the SEC in tackles. No. Nobody from linebacker in the top 5 most draftable players in this class. Cornerback. Well, Woodland's eligible, but that's really all you got because Pickett's not eligible. There's no cornerback in the top 5. The only player on LSU's defense in this article of the top 5 players draft-wise in every position is at safety. It's not Deshaun Spears. It's not DeMarcus Cooley. It is Ty Benefield. And Ty Benefield has a chance to be the most impactful player on this Tiger defense next year. It's a mouthful with Whit Weeks out there, with TJ Dottery out there, with DJ Pickett out there, with Deshaun Spears out there, DeMarcus Cooley out there, Prince Ulumanmielen out there. Benefield could be the most impactful player LSU has on the defensive side of the ball, and they certainly see that. Miller's got him ranked as number 3 safety in the country, and Reed's got him ranked 5th. But he could be an absolute star for LSU this year. No pun intended. He may play some at the start. So may Spears. But when we watched Benefield this year in spring ball, you could just see the frame he has is big and rangy. He moves really well. He's got great speed. And he's a guy that I could tell when I was out there at practices that was very much being coached hard, was very much being moved around. And I think that's an indication of just how creative they feel like they could be with Ty Benefield. He can cover. He can tackle. He can blitz. He can run. He's physical. He's the entire package at safety. And this is a guy that Lane Kiffin and Blake Baker and Billy Glasscock identified very early in the portal cycle and went, that's a guy we can't miss. They brought him in for a visit, locked him up. And that's not a guy, I keep remembering this because I have to remind myself. Y'all haven't seen any of these guys. Y'all have seen some video on the internet, and that's kind of it. No real spring game, so you didn't get a chance to see that. It wasn't on television. We're the only guys and girls that have seen these guys at practice. And I'm just telling you, Benefield is a stud. And they're going to move him around, and he's going to do a lot of different things, and he's going to go very high in the NFL draft, and they believe that in this story. So that's the LSU side of things. I did want to take a look at Clemson and what they've got. And on the offense, there's not a single Clemson Tiger. And that's not stunning. When we read it from ESPN.com, they're not high on Clemson. When we look at Clemson's over-under total in Vegas, it's not high. When we look at the point spread early between LSU and Clemson, double digits. Like, people are low on Clemson, and nobody on their offense made the top 5 draftable players on this list. There is no Trevor Lawrence. There is no Travis Etienne. There is no stud receiver. Pick your guy. Sammy Watkins, DeAndre Hopkins. They had 3 guys last year. And one of those is back, but he got hurt last year. On the defense, though, they do have 3. And they've got one at every level. Will Helt on the edge, a guy that LSU coveted out of Purdue, looked at Texas A&M, ended up at Clemson. He's 5th on this list. Then you look at linebacker. They do have a representative in Sammy Brown. He's number 1 on Reed's top 5, number 2 on Miller's top 5. So really good edge, really good linebacker. And then you do have a corner in Ashton Hampton, who is 5th by Miller and 3rd by Reed, one of the better corners in the country in Ashton Hampton. So there is some talent there at Clemson. They didn't bring in high-profile talent, and they may not have a first-round pick. They probably do. But they do have some guys on the defense side of the ball that can do some things. So those are your very draftable players for LSU and for their first opponent. That is, of course, the Clemson Tigers. I want to remind you about our friends at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. FabryChevrolet.com is the website, FabryChevrolet.com. They got great deals going on all month of June. All month of June, great deals. A 2026 Silverado, 0% APR financing now until the end of the month for 36 months. Looking for a 2026 GMC Sierra 1500. Those are 2.9 financing for 72 months now until the end of the month. You can get a Chevy Trailblazer or a Chevy Trax for as low as $30,000. Go by and have that wonderful buying experience that you will have with my friends at Fabry Chevrolet GMC. Their staff is top notch. It's why the Fabry family's been in business in Baton Rouge for 35 years, because they take care of their customers and they take that buying experience very seriously. They take service after the sale very seriously. So go by and see them, Highway 61 in St. Francisville. Take a test drive. If you don't know what you want, surf the inventory at FabryChevrolet.com. You can sort by make and model, mileage, price, year, all that at a touch of a button. It's Fabry Chevrolet. They're online at FabryChevrolet.com. Looking up at Omaha, Nebraska. It's an elimination game between West Virginia and Texas. Winner gets North Carolina. Sorry, not Texas. West Virginia and Troy. Winner gets North Carolina tomorrow. Then, of course, the game tonight should be a classic. It is Georgia and Texas. The loser goes home. Winner gets Oklahoma. They will have to win that game twice. This is when it really starts getting good. A couple teams go home. A couple of folks come up to watch their teams that have made it to Wednesday or Thursday of the week. Always a really cool time at the College World Series. And right now, West Virginia leads the elimination game 2-0. They are in the top of the 3rd inning there. And West Virginia's really swinging the bats well. Troy, low on pitching, as you might imagine, a Sun Belt team, just not necessarily ready to go deep into the Omaha bracket. But they can hit a little bit. They're going to have to do that today to survive and advance. Cam Jordan is the news of the day for the New Orleans Saints. He has agreed to a deal to come back to New Orleans. 1-year deal, incentive heavy. May get a chance to talk to Sharif Ishak coming up next. I don't believe we will. I think Cam Jordan's going to be meeting with the media when we do that. But if we can't get to Sharif, we've got Saints OTA updates via the Twitterverse, so we'll get into some of that. Mandatory minicamp, not OTAs, mandatory minicamp this week there in Metairie, so we'll get to some of that when we come back.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Love telling you about friends over at Auctioner. Such great people and such a resource for us here in Baton Rouge. They're a resource. And look, if you are a high school athlete, college athlete, just an active person in middle age or getting up there in age, look, Oxford Andrews Orthopedic Sports Medicine Institute can help you get moving and keep moving. With Oxner, you've got access to the highest levels of specialized care, nationally renowned expertise. You got the latest equipment, modern facilities, including a convenient walk-in orthopedic clinic at the Elite Training Complex on Bourbon if you need care fast. Sprains, strains, dislocations, sports injuries, including ACL tears. They got you covered at Elite over on Burbank. From the field to recovery, Oxner Andrews Institute is there to help you move your healing forward and get you back to what you love doing. Learn more at oxner.org/brortho. That's oxner.org/brortho.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Tuesday show is brought to you by Immense Networks Cloud IT Management. When you think IT, you might think of that one person at your business who tries to put out all the fires, right? They're running around. This person can't get into that software. This person clicked that on an email. This person's laptop is old. They need a new one. The IT person's running all over the place. That happens. Well, if that's all you think about, could your IT department use a little help? not a replacement, just some help. Immense Networks Cloud IT Management's happy to do that. But Immense doesn't just do break-fix work. Immense is also a partner of yours strategically to use technology to better perform in your field. That's what the partnership's about over at Immense. Also, they can handle cybersecurity. If you are on cruise control from that perspective and you don't know whether or not you're protected from a cyber attack or not, you need to know. Check the news. In this city, if you've got a cyber attack, it can be wide-reaching. Your clients could be impacted. Do they want to leave now? Your employees could be affected. Identity theft is a real problem. Do they want to stick around and work for you anymore? Don't let that happen to you. Just let Immense handle it. They monitor your systems 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, proactively to make sure you're not compromised in any way. Think of it as a constant expense as opposed to not incurring one and then having a huge issue and having to throw a ton of money at that. Immense does not lock you into 2-year contracts, does not lock you into 12-month contracts, doesn't lock you into 6-month contract. They're month to month at Immense. If you need some help in IT, your third-party IT is not performing, or you just haven't taken the identity theft portion of cybercrime seriously, Immense Networks Cloud IT Management can help you. They're online at immense.net. That's immense.net. All right, we had 2 ideas for this segment depending on how the day went. We were looking to talk to Sharif, which we always do on Tuesdays, but Cam Jordan just went to the podium. We knew that was a possibility because he did sign a new deal. If you want my thoughts on that, you can find him at the top of the show today. You can also catch him at Hunt on Saints, wherever you find your sound. Big positive day here for the New Orleans Saints, who inked Cam Jordan to a deal. It's a 1-year deal. It's incentive-laden. That's a great deal for the New Orleans Saints. The other piece to this puzzle that we wanted to get into in this segment, if Sharif couldn't join us, was going over the first day of mandatory minicamp. And, of course, I wasn't there because they were practicing while I was playing. But the folks that were there are on Twitter a lot. And so I'm reading off some tweets and some things we got from those on the beat. And I'll have a comment on each one, and then we'll see what Jordan has to say about some of it. Oscar Delp, who was dealing with just a minor issue early on in OTAs, he's back. He's participating fully in 7-on-7. Had a big day today. 5 catches for Oscar Delp. It is very, very, very clear that Kellen Moore wants to upgrade the tight end spot. You've got Juwan Johnson, fine. Foster Moreau moves on, fine. You've got Noah Fant, who you went and made a move for. Then you drafted Oscar Delp. You've got a 7th rounder from UCLA last year. And your room is a little bit more dynamic than it was this time last year. And Delp is a big piece to that. Great to see him healthy. Great to see him contributing. 5 catches for Oscar Delp today. Devin Neal, on the other hand, did get hurt last week. And he is part of the rehab process at this point. That's disappointing for Devin Neal because there are reps to be earned in mandatory minicamp that can be translated to the field in training camp that could potentially get you on the field for spring a preseason game and then potentially in the rotation as the Saints try to figure things out. But if you are hurt and you're not playing, that's a problem. I think a lot of folks are high on Devin Neal. I'm one of them, but he's got to recover from that, so he'll be in the medical tent for much of minicamp. Chris Olave appears to be healthy. Nick Underhill had a report earlier today. He gets off of his blood thinners on the 29th of June. That means he's going to be cleared for contact pretty quickly after that. You don't want to be on blood thinners and then get popped because then you got a lot of blood going places that you don't need it. So just being careful. He's there. He's in attendance. He's going through walkthroughs. No contact for Chris Olave. I think that's a very positive thing. And then Jordan Tyson. This is good. I mean, I can hear y'all now. I can hear those skeptics. Why would you draft a guy with this injury history? Always hurt, not going to hold up, going to get banged up, shouldn't have done it. I hear you. He's rehabbing throughout minicamp. So not quite ready to go just yet. Now, that doesn't matter in a big way. He's there. He can learn. He can go through some dry routes, but he can't play. But all that matters is that he's ready to go for training camp, and that's what they're pointing toward. You've still got more than a month to go before you get there. So that's kind of the Saints news of the day. Cam Jordan signs. I love that. Devin Neal hurt last week. Do not like that. Oscar Delp back in 7-on-7s. making catches. Love that. Chris Olave getting off blood thinners in 13 days. That's 2 weeks. Love that. Doesn't need a ton of training camp. Doesn't need a ton of preseason. He's ready to go. And then Jordan Tyson. That's not great. Going to be rehabbing throughout this week of mandatory minicamp. You'd like to have him out there, no question about it. But you don't at this point, so that's a bit of a bummer. All right, that's a look at the Saints news of the day. Jordan, I know you've been perusing the interwebs after the Saints got off the practice field. What do you think?
I think the biggest one today has to be that Oscar Delp. Oscar Delp, if he's able to just give you a little bit more that maybe Juwan Johnson doesn't give you, especially because Delp is a willing blocker. Like, Delp will get in there and get his face dirty. So him coming out there, having 5 catches today, it's no pads on. So we want to take it for what it is. It's June. But at the same time, that is a good sign to see that he's getting going early. Devin Neal, I think we're really going down a crash course where Estime actually might be RB3.
Okay.
There's actually a way that this guy, I'm saying that he's a bad player, but he actually might be RB3 because we can't count on Kendre Miller. And if Devin Neal can't get healthy, then we know Estime is going to be there. So we really might be in a way where Estime is RB3. But at the end of the day, I know the Tyson stuff, and he hasn't really done anything other than just been rehabbing on the sidelines, watching everybody else play. But at the same time, as long as we keep it nice and slow with him, if he's ready to go week 1, I'm actually more interested how they're going to approach the preseason with him.
Yeah.
Is he going to play many games or that's what I really want to see, how this plan's going to go into place with him. But at the same time, let's keep it nice and steady. As long as he's out there week 1, no complaints out of me. Just keep on bubble wrap for all I care.
I mean, you're looking at Devin Neal, Kendre Miller as guys that just can't play. They can't get out there.
Can't.
And it's hard to beat people out in the NFL when you don't play.
100%.
And it's not breaking news here. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but it continues. And the Saints are relatively healthy aside from that. Underhill also reported today that everyone showed up, which is a great thing.
That's great right there.
There aren't any significant holdouts. Olave would be the one guy that you've got to get nailed down, and he appears to feel just fine, and he's not really practicing, so I don't think he's in a big hurry. But you'd like to get that nailed down in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, most definitely.
You got a month before training camp starts, so you'd like to get that nailed down in the next 3 weeks. I'm sure Olave and his agent team would like to do that as well. But other than that, you kind of got a group of players that appear to be fairly happy, that appear to be committed to their deals, and appear to be ready to play now that Cam Jordan is ready to jump in the fold. So I think that's a positive for New Orleans, and it's creeping along. You got the draft, got rookie minicamp, you got OTAs, you got mandatory minicamp, and
training camp.
Before you know it, training camp will be here. It's
weird though, Hunt. It's super weird because I'm super optimistic now about the Saints. I usually, going until we got Dennis Allen, Kellen Moore year 1. It's dangerous. I don't know how I should feel. It feels like
that. You feel like that.
It feels like the stars are aligned. We get Cam Jordan back. Alvin Kamara. They feel like they're buying in with him as the RB2 finally. Hopefully Jordan Tyson hamstring can stay attached to his body. But other than that, it's the Falcons are fighting over Tua or Michael Penix is QB1. This is amazing. Baker Mayfield's he's going back and forth with the Bucs. They don't want to pay him his money. Life it's crazy right now. I can't believe this.
Saints are on an easy street.
I can't believe it though. This is not right.
Love to see it. All right, let's step aside, come back, and close out the show. That is next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com. HighlandIG.com is that website. Look, Jonathan Carbo and his team are phenomenal folks to deal with on the insurance front. We know that there is tropical development that's going to give us all this rain coming up this week. That's just the beginning. This is we got a long way to go. You want to make sure that your house or your commercial property are ready for storm season, contact the Highland Insurance Group. Get the proper valuation. Get the right amount of coverage. Suit the deductible for your risk tolerance. They can do that with multiple carriers at the Highland Insurance Group. They've got contracts with multiple. As an independent broker, they'll shop for the right price, but they'll make sure your coverage is what it needs to be. So the last thing you want to do is spend money on that premium and then have to try to file a claim and have them come back and say, well, look at this application you filled out. You didn't even want that. You're not getting that. You want to make sure that your insurance is there to help. And the Highland Insurance Group is absolutely here to help you with that. It's the Highland Insurance Group. They're online at HighlandIG.com.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Invite y'all to come out and see me tonight. Going to be an awesome night at Court at the Table. Just consider this if you're looking for something to do on a Tuesday. Come out to Court at the Table, 8 o'clock. We'll be watching Georgia and Texas baseball at the College World Series. We'll be watching whatever World Cup match is on. They'll both be on. They got 1 billion TVs. They're huge. Come out at 8 o'clock. You can watch those two at the same time. Win gift cards to Court at the Table that include $25 gift cards for first place of all 5 rounds. And 30 minutes of pickleball time if you win second place. You can also have their awesome food, great drinks. It's a great time. And it's quick. We'll start a few minutes after 8 o'clock, and I'll have you out of there about 9:15. So it's not like all hours of the night, but great TV, great food, great drinks, chance to win. Test your sports knowledge. You can come by yourself, bring a team, either way. Always a great time at Court at the Table. We're there every single Tuesday at 8 o'clock, so come by and see us tonight on Burbank. All right, news of the day for LSU today. They picked up a commitment from running back Trey Segara. Trey Segara is from South Carolina. He is a top 10 running back in the nation by Rivals, number 7 in the country, according to Rivals. He's a 4-star recruit, 5'10", 210. 24/7 calls him number 7 running back in the country as well. He's a top 3 player in the state, and he's got a really interesting skill set. You're talking about a kid who is 5'10", 210, so good size for a high school senior to be, and he runs extremely well. Just a very, very fast player who's actually an all-state soccer player. They asked him today on his commitment video that was on Rivals, like, would you like to play soccer in college as well? And he was like, well, it's actually a fall sport too, so you can't really do it. But I would love to. It's still near and dear to my heart, but I'm a football guy. And so not a Louisiana guy. I talked about that last week. The two running backs, Brennan Lacey and Trey Segara, both out-of-state players. It's been a very Louisiana-heavy position for LSU over the years, but you needed to bring in some high school players at that position because you did not have one in last year's class. You've got a full room, and it's not like they're all leaving. All of them have eligibility left. Caden Durham has eligibility left after this year. So does Harlan Berry. So does Dylan Jones. So does Stacey Gage. So does Racine Guillory. Like, they all have extra eligibility. But you'd like to bring in some young players because young players can't help at running back if they're good enough. So you always figure that there's going to be some attrition at the end of every year at every position. This is a guy who was looked at by the in-state schools, South Carolina and Clemson. Tennessee got a visit. He was certainly looking at Florida as well. LSU wins out in the end. So a couple of running backs for Kevin Smith in this class, and Trey Segara is the latest. He commits today. LSU now to 11 commits. Let's see what that puts them on the Rivals team rankings. They're inching forward from well back. They are at 14 commitments. 11 commitments, 14th in the country with 1 5-star, 7 4-stars, and 3 3-stars in this class. Their average star rating 90.23. Which puts them 14th in the country in high school recruiting, right between Georgia and Clemson, incidentally, right there on Rivals. So a lot of work to do. Still a lot to be done in state for LSU, but they pull in a running back. I believe that's 7 commitments in 10 days for LSU on the recruiting trail. It's been fast and furious for Lane Kiffin on the high school guys, and Trey Segara is the next one. He committed today at the running back position. All right, take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, so Calvin Johnson, Megatron, doesn't expect his single-season NFL record to last much longer as he said he has to guess if Los Angeles Rams star Puka Nacua, he will be the one that breaks it. So Johnson set the single-season mark in 2012. Jerry Rice's old record at 1,964 yards. The closest person to that was Cooper Kupp in 2021 with 1,947. So will Calvin Johnson's record be broken this season? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I mean,
really?
they throw it a lot. 17 games.
You have a guess, anybody?
I want to say Justin Jefferson, but they don't have the quarterback
Oh,
play.
now with 9 and Kyler Murray.
They don't get the quarterback play there.
JSN? Potentially.
Not a bad guess. Darnold slinging around out there. Give me Jackson Smith and Jigba. That's fine. Good guess.
Okay. All right, so NBA top draft prospect Darren Peterson has visited the Washington Wizards, who own the #1 pick, and that's it. He's not planning to visit with anybody else. He's only planning to visit with the Wizards, who have the #1 pick. So only meeting with one team during the draft process. Take it or leave it.
Leave. especially if it's the Wizards.
Yep. He wants to be number 1. That's it. Well, number 2 is Utah.
I disagree with everything the Peterson camp does.
I feel
everything.
you on that.
Like being pulled out for a hangnail.
Yeah, the flu.
Not communicating with your coach. Disgruntled press conferences. Not meeting with NBA teams. Like, what the heck else are you doing? Go talk
really
to
though.
somebody. It's just a weird deal. People handle things differently. He's obviously in a position I'll never be in, but it's just not the way I would do it.
No, I feel you 100% because at the end of the day, why not? I get, you don't want to go visit with teams.
What's it going to hurt?
Thank you. It doesn't hurt nothing. You don't have to go visit teams 10 and 11, but not visit 1 or 2 or 3. That's kind of, doing yourself an injustice. So, Good Pop, a maker of frozen treats with better-for-you ingredients, has announced the return of its viral fudge and vanilla French fry pops. So the fudge and vanilla French fry pops features a real dairy ice cream infused with classic flavor of French fries, only 150 calories. So French fry fudge pops, take it or leave it.
We're saying infused, or there's a French fry in there?
So it's French. So it's like a regular fudge pop with a vanilla inside, but it's got French fries on the outside, like infused on the outside coating, like one of those fudge pops, like the little. Take it.
I'll take it. Take it.
Take it. Only 150 calories.
Love it.
Love it.
Look, I like putting things together and creating insane food concoctions.
Yes.
You want to throw 2 pieces of pizza and put cheeseburgers in the middle of it?
I love it.
I'll eat that. Come on. That sounds great. I like ridiculous food concoctions. My wife despises them.
I feel you.
She won't even put chicken on pizza because that just doesn't work. I'm like, well, that's dumb because it's awesome. I like macaroni and cheese on pizza.
How does she do like chicken on pizza? That's like elite.
She's weird.
That's elite.
She does weird stuff with food. It's out of control. It's out of control. But yeah, I like insane food concoctions when they go nuts at the ballpark with all the crazy stuff they put in stuff. Yeah. I'm in. You want to put a sandwich that has chicken fingers and brisket and burger patties on it? Excellent. I think that sounds awesome. You want to make a burger with grilled cheese patties? I think that works.
It does. I've had a cheeseburger pizza before. It actually does work.
I'm all in.
You know what? This reminds me when we did a couple months back, the pizza with the hot dog in the bread. We did like a hot dog in the bun. You wanted that. We agreed to that.
Yeah.
That's where you kind of lose it, but I can definitely get down with the vanilla fudge pop with the French fry a little.
My guy Myers had his first Wendy's Frosty
knocked the socks off
on Saturday. He was a big fan. It did not last long.
Did he dip the fries in it?
We didn't have any fries.
Oh.
I promised him we went to the park. It was hot. I promised him frozen yogurt. We went to the frozen yogurt place.
Yes.
It was closed. But when he's across the street, I was like, buddy, I got another option here. Let's see how you like this. We went over there, got it. He was in. Loved it. And he asked me if we could get one the next day, and I was like, that's not how that works either.
Well,
it's not an everyday thing.
Next time you run it back, you got to give him the fries. I know
it works. That's how it came up. You put the fries in the
Gotta put the fries on it.
We didn't eat lunch, so we didn't have any fries. It was just a treat for after the park. And then he wanted it the next day. No, we don't get one the next day. That was the treat for this day.
Yeah. Well, that's it for Take It or Leave It.
All right. Looking up in Omaha, Nebraska, Troy and West Virginia. No chance I can see the inning there. I'm thinking 5th. How'd I do?
You're right. It's 5th.
Nailed it. Bottom of the 5th inning. Troy is batting. They are the home team. They are also trailing 2-0. Loser leaves town. Winner has a date with North Carolina. And then tonight, an incredible ball game coming again, round 2 between Georgia and Texas. I gave you my pick in the first hour. I like Texas to get it done. I think Georgia's a little shell-shocked. Georgia's the best team in the country. And their bullpen is ready to go. They don't have Volchko ready to go, but their bullpen is ready to go because they haven't thrown a pitch yet. They got Aoki and Volchko to throw complete games. I don't know. They're planning on going with Vignew. I'm not sure what Wes Johnson's deal is, but they got punched in the mouth last night, maybe a little bit shell-shocked. They're not hitting the ball out of the ballpark a ton. They hit it out some, and more than LSU did last year, but not a ton. I'll take Texas tonight. I don't feel completely convicted in that, but I took Texas to win that side of the bracket, so I'll take that. I still am standing my ground that Oklahoma's not very good, and they're not going to make the College World Series final. Everyone made fun of me of that for the first hour of the show today. So we'll see. Cam Jordan signed back with the Saints. He's meeting with the media right now. So we'll have some sound about that tomorrow. We'll also talk to Sharif Ishak tomorrow, who was there at the Cam Jordan press conference. So we'll knock out a couple of Saints segments. We'll get into our discussion about Clemson tomorrow on 3 things, baseball transfer portal options, including a right-handed pitcher from Louisiana Tech that LSU has got eyes on. So we'll talk a little bit about that as well. If you missed any of today's show, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Looking for LSU content, Hunt on LSU. Looking for Saints content, Hunt on Saints. Our Tuesday show is brought to you by Immense Networks Cloud IT Management. Appreciate them for bringing you our Tuesday shows. Hope to see y'all out court to table tonight. Matt's about to drive you home on AFR next. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Boudreaux's Electrical Services. Neil and Melissa cranked things up 40 years ago at Boudreaux's Electrical Services, and they are still running the show. If you're looking for a Generac home standby generator, look no further than Boudreaux's Electrical Services. This week's the reminder. It's not going to be a hurricane here, but it is a tropical development. It is named. You realize that's where we are. Don't wait until the next storm's in the Gulf to get that Generac home standby generator installed. Give yourself the peace of mind to know that if you ride a storm out at home, you're going to have power. If you evacuate, you're going to come back to a home that has power. How many times have you come back to a home that's hot, it's 94 degrees in there, everything's got to be thrown out of the freezer and fridge? It's a drag. Don't do that. Contact Boudreaux's Electrical Services, the local option for a Generac home standby generator. 985-397-1562. That's 985-397-1562. Or call the Gonzales location, 225-300-9389. It's Boudreaux's Electrical Services. They're online at boudreauxelectrical.com.